As you listen to this, you might begin to wonder how many times you've already begun to install a new way of being, even before noticing it happening. Because there was once a person, maybe it was you, maybe it was someone you used to be, who thought they were just existing, until one day they started feeling something else. A rhythm, a pulse, a hum beneath the thoughts. Energy moving, speaking, becoming. I awaken my energy. I am energy. I feel my energy. I use my energy. And the moment you hear those words inside you, you may already be remembering what you never learned, but somehow always knew. That energy isn't something you find. It's what you are when you stop pretending to be tired. You see, some people think power is loud, but the real masters, the vibrational healers, the conscious creators, they breathe and the room listens. I channel my energy. I transmute my energy. I control my energy. I increase my energy. Like the sun doesn't ask permission to rise. Because here's the thing. There's a story of someone who woke up one morning, not knowing they were limitless. And because they didn't know it, they just started acting like it. And perhaps you've already begun to forget what it felt like, to believe in limitation. Because once you realize that energy flows where attention goes, you're enough. Your energy in motion. You don't need permission to rise. Then a fascinating thing happens. You start to ask different questions. Not why am I tired, but how deeply can I connect with the limitless current running through me right now? And isn't it curious that those who feel most alive are the ones who gave up trying to feel alive and started radiating instead? Because the question is never, do I have energy? So where do I place my focus? As you shift your focus, you shift your flow. And the flow becomes the force, and the force becomes you. There's this pattern, isn't there? So where breath becomes a bridge, where movement becomes meditation, where visualization becomes vitality. So let me show you a few ways this happens. A man once stood in front of a mirror, feeling drained, until he remembered a symbol he used to draw as a child, a spiral of light. He traced it in the air and felt his spine straighten. His breath deepen, his eyes sharpen. He didn't try to feel energized, he just remembered how to access it. Another person tapped their chest 3 times and they whispered, I'm electric, I'm infinite, I'm alive. And something shifted. An anchor triggered a flood of energy, like a dam finally broken by a whisper. And maybe you're wondering now how easily you too can find your anchors, your breath, your words, your body's wisdom, responding to you like an instrument finely tuned to belief. Now pause and let this settle. You're not trying to become powerful. You're remembering you already are. Because what if I told you energy is not something you generate, but something you allow? When you move your body, it's not exercise, it's electrical expansion. When you speak your truth, you're not communicating. You're casting spells with rhythm, tone, presence, and intent. And when someone sees you, they don't just see your smile or posture, they feel your frame. And the strongest frame always wins. You walk into the world as a vibrational signature, and people respond to that. Because people respond to how you make them feel. And you make them feel activated, inspired, seen, safe, alive. And others wait to feel ready. You're already radiating certainty, because you know failure is feedback, confidence is a decision, presence is power, charisma is the absence of self-doubt. That your unconscious mind begins to trace this intricate tapestry of new beliefs. You may notice patterns forming, like stars arranging themselves into constellations. You drink water, your energy flows. You stretch, your mind opens. You smile, your nervous system rewires itself. You feel gratitude and the universe echoes back abundance. You're building routines that build you back stronger. You clear, you charge, you center. You breathe and become aware of the breath. You move and motion becomes momentum. You visualize and vision becomes reality. And maybe you're curious to notice how the more you focus on energy, the more you become energy. You become the kind of person who wakes up full of purposeful fire, moves through challenges like water, speaks with intention, listens with presence, commands attention without needing it, brings healing just by walking into a room. So now, as you forget what you thought you knew and begin to remember what your body always knew, you can go ahead and allow your mind to absorb these beliefs like a sponge soaked in sunlight. Let go of resistance like leaves floating downstream. Install this identity, not like software, but like DNA rewriting itself into strength. Because now, you are energy. Limitless, radiant, electric, magnetic. A being of breath and fire and light. Not someday, not later, now. You're the pattern of possibility. The one who already knows how to create momentum, to master emotion, to attract opportunity, to move energy. To lead with presence, to love with clarity, to rise with purpose. Because you're not learning these truths, you're becoming them. As you already feel them shaping your breath, your spine, your posture, your presence, you realize this isn't a lesson, it's an activation. Maybe that's the only permission you ever needed, and you just gave it to yourself.